Ah, yes, we are back on Playing the Field, the Bachelor podcast. I'm Ryan Field, the sports anchor here for Eyewitness News in New York City, a longtime Bachelor fan. And when we're not talking about sports, we are talking about the game of love. And joining me now to talk about that, as always, our Bachelor insiders, Jen Matarese from ABC-7 here in New York, and Gina Sirico, our good friend out at our sister station, KABC in Los Angeles. And we are thrilled to be joined now by Leslie, our special guest this week from the Golden Bachelor. Leslie coming to us from Minnesota. What's going on, Leslie? How you doing out there?
I'm good. Timberwolves,
Oh,
big
my
win.
goodness. The Minnesota Timberwolves are the talk of the NBA, and you, my friend, are still the talk of Bachelor Nation after everything that transpired on the Golden Bachelor. Take us through that experience, what you learned from it, and looking back at it, do you feel like things went the way they were supposed to?
I do feel like I have that kind of, throughout my life, I'm like, things always work out the way they're supposed to. That's kind of been my little running thread through my life. And I do feel like it worked out the way it was supposed to. And I look back on it with just pure joy and happiness for the experience that I got to have and the people that I've met, the girls, the people on the show, the people that work in the show. My life is richer and fuller because of that experience. I can honestly say that.
It had to be hard when you had to look Gerry in the eye and say, I know you're not picking me. You knew it. You felt it. And you said it. And I give you so much credit for that because I don't think I would be able to just sit there either. I would be like, come on, dude. But what were your thoughts going through that? And looking back on it, do you like how you handled it? Do you like how he handled it? Or how do you, other than ending up together, how do you wish it had gone?
I have fallen in love with Theresa. And that's the direction I'm going to take.
Okay. So everything you told me the other night was a lie.
I think it went the way it was supposed to. I'm glad that I didn't have to get on that platform and have that happen to me there. Mm-hmm. So even though it was really hard that, the night before and in my room and all that stuff, I'm very thankful that I didn't have to put the dress on and go and think that this is my moment and then not be my moment. So that part for me, I'm very happy. Obviously it was heartbreaking for me. And I know I've said this before, I really don't count on things until they happen, but for once in my life, I was counting on this because I was told something. And so it was a little bit, I was blindsided. So that was a little hard. Usually I'm, very cautiously optimistic about things throughout my life. But, it's, looking back on it, I know he had a tough decision. I don't know what changed his mind so fast, but, he did what he felt like he needed to. And I've said this throughout the whole show, everything. I've always said it's his show, really. It's his choice. He's the one that has to choose. And that's kind of what I kind of stood by.
Mm-hmm. In those moments, and it's for somebody who's been watching the show for a long time, in those moments, I felt like it was one of the most real moments I have seen where it's like I felt all the emotions that you were feeling in that time. How, after you got back, how long did it kind of take you to decompress, put everything together from what had happened and just kind of like work through it?
Well, I do have an ability to pick myself and move on because I've had some strife in my life and some tragedies with my parents dying very young. And I have 2 kids that went through, treatment. And it's been, I've had things in my life where I've had to pick myself, dust myself off and go on because there's no choice. One foot in front of the other. I've never been one to I'm depressed, I'm going to lay in bed. I was it was about 2 weeks where I kind of started to feel a little bit better. I was really sad. Uh, you know, Obviously it was hard because I couldn't really tell anyone the ending. So I had to pretend that everything was okay. And, I go to work and I teach and I work at a music venue and I'm around people. And so that was a little hard for me, showtime. And, but, obviously my family knew and it was good. At least I could talk to my brother and my sons and, my daughter. So, but yeah, I mean, it was a good couple weeks before I kind of felt a little bit better. But yeah, I was having a hard time.
What did you learn about yourself through this experience, and how different was it from previous relationships you've been in your life?
Well, I learned that, I am open to a different type of person than maybe I've had in the past, or maybe that I think I want as a partner. Because Gerry was different than all the other men that I've dated, or my husband. And I did fall in love with him, and there were so many things that I did like about him. So I was really happy that I was opening myself up to something that was different for me. And I learned that, going forward for the person that's going to come along, not my last, my final one, hopefully, that I'm going to be a little bit more open to not having everything that I thought I wanted. So.
When you look back at the golden wedding, what was your mindset going into that day? And how did you, I guess, prepare for that and get through that experience and watch it? I mean, I don't think I could have sat at any of my ex-boyfriend's weddings.
There is a little bit of time in between coming home from the show and the wedding, obviously. And Theresa wanted me to come, and I thought about it for a few days, and then I decided to go. But then I ended up being in the hospital literally on my birthday, and like 4 days, or not 4 days, but a week before I was supposed to go to the wedding. And so I really didn't think I was going to make it to the wedding. And then I felt better, and my brother went with me to kind of help me with my luggage and everything. I had my own little valet. But, my mindset really was, I was really excited to see the other women because I hadn't really spent much time with them. Because after the finale, I didn't see them. And, so I was kind of really excited to see my friends. And I really focused on that. And then when I was sitting there watching, to me, it looked like they were really happy with each other. And at the end of the day, I just want everyone to be happy. And Theresa was my friend. And I was happy that she, was happy. So, yeah, there was maybe a second or a minute where I'm like, this could be a little uncomfortable, but I was okay. I'm going to tell you that I was sitting, I love how they strategically put me on the aisle. And I looked across, and Trista was right across from me, and she was also in the audience in my view at the finale. So she just is very comforting to me and gives me encouragement just with her eyes, and a nod of the head and maybe a little kiss, And so she, I looked at her and she's like, don't worry, you got this. And so things like that really help.
That's sweet.
I love that about Bachelor Nation, because I do feel like the people who have been a part of this show, like you said, Trista, like I interviewed her for her season however many years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a close-knit family. It is a definite family dynamic. So as you were all there at that moment, when you heard now, like looking, a little bit ahead, when you heard that they were done, like, did you see that coming? Were you like, oh God, like, what were your thoughts?
I was shocked. I may have known about it just maybe 2 days before they announced it, and that's it. But other than that, because we just spent the weekend together at Family Feud, Celebrity Family Feud, and before that at Joey's finale, and we all were hanging out together, and we actually had a really good time. We laughed and we had meals together, and so I guess I was shocked. I didn't see that coming. No.
And you said that you had closure from the situation once time passed and you were able to be there at the wedding to support your friends. Have you talked to either Gerry or Theresa since then, since they are your friends? And is it kind of weird giving them advice as friends, knowing that you were romantically involved with Gerry and he ended up picking Theresa?
Well, I haven't talked to Gerry. I texted both of them in a kind of a group message after, like 2 days later. I wanted to let them, whatever. And I just said, I love you both. I'm here for you. I mean, I'm sorry, that kind of thing. And then Theresa and I do text like maybe every day or every other day. We talk maybe once a week. So I just want to be there for her. I mean, I know she's having a hard time, and yes, it is weird. And I think that's one thing about the Bachelor Nation. People do move on, and at the end of the day, I felt like Gerry made the right decision. Obviously, not now. I mean, I'm not saying it should have been me. I'm just saying, I don't know. But back then, I really thought it was the right decision for him. And so
if Gerry called today and said, "Let's give this another shot," would you think about it?
No. Because
that was a very quick no.
Well, it's not that, I hate the guy. I was in love with him. I care a lot about him. But A, I'm no one's second choice ever.
Good for you.
And B, that window's closed for me. Yeah.
So where are things today? Like, are you dating? Are a lot of men contacting you and
sliding into your DMs?
Yeah, are they?
I've been asked this question before, and I know that you're not going to believe me, but I have not been on a date.
What?
Come on.
Yeah, I have not been on a date. I have not. Sliding into my DMs, some daughters do, and they want me to meet their dad.
Look at that.
Kelsey's dad. What about Kelsey's dad?
Yeah, he's a doll. I mean, I did meet him at the finale. He's such a sweetheart. I'm just like, I'm not shy because I'm not shy, but I'm a little shy. Like, I don't know. I just don't. I'm not very, when it comes to that kind of thing, I'm a little old fashioned. I'm like, if they want me, they can ask me. I'm here. I don't know if people are intimidated. I don't know. I don't know.
So if Kelsey's dad asked you out, what would you say?
Well, I'd have to get on a plane and get there.
No, he could get on the plane.
Yeah,
we'll get him on the plane.
I'd say, let's do it.
Woo!
Yeah, he's sweet. He's a very, very nice person. But that's not it. He's Kelsey's dad. That means he did something right with her, because that girl is just amazing. Yeah.
She is a sweetheart. I met her after we had her here on the podcast with Joey, and it was just like the sweetest. But let's talk about that moment, because you did get to talk to her and meet her during his season at the very end. There were a lot of people who were like, when there was a lot of chatter about when you said like, just be prepared and talk about that. What did you think about all that chatter? To me, I thought it was, personally, I was like, it makes sense. It makes sense to like prepare. You went through it. You want to make sure she's okay. That's how I thought. Tell me what you thought when everybody started talking about it.
Well, I know. I mean, because I did listen to you guys when you were talking about that, and if you know anything about the show, there's always cut edits. I mean, I talked to her for a long time, and and obviously they don't get all the conversation in, And I said, have you told him you loved him? She goes, no. I said, you got to go do it in your overnight. You got to put it out on the line. You got to tell him how you feel,
This is kind of do or die moment. You have to be open and honest and just everything.
And I knew talking to her, this was November now. So I had no idea who the last three girls were, really. I mean, until I got to Tulum, I knew that I was talking to Kelsey because we both, obviously suffered a loss of losing our mothers when we were young. And we talked a lot about that, how, decision-making has been different without our moms throughout her life. And, more from my life. And, she lost her mom just a few years back. But, so, there was a whole big conversation. But I looked at her. I mean, she's the same age. She's younger than my children. But I looked at her and I thought, if I was going to talk to my daughter, which I do a lot about her, romantic involvement, I would always say, be careful. I mean, you have to just, and then I'm going off my experience. I certainly didn't want her to doubt herself or anything like that. I just, and I know that Joey was, obviously because he's been on the show before, I think it was a different situation. I just wanted her to be careful and protect her heart, but it really wasn't as condensed as it was shown. It was a whole big conversation.
Yeah.
Seeing them together now, Joey and Kelsey, we all agree that this is it. Like, this is going to work out. This is going to be one of those Bachelor couples that makes it all the way till the very, very end. And did you see what Joey saw in her? And do you agree with that sentiment?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't know who the front one was out of the three girls. I didn't even know the three girls. I just met them briefly when I got there. But the minute I walked in and I met her, I'm like, this is it. This is his girl. I just knew it. I could feel it. I just knew it. I could feel it. So, yeah. But she's a doll. They're all great. They're amazing girls. All the girls on that show was amazing. But I just, I loved her. I love her. And so getting back to Mark, yes, he raised an amazing daughter.
It always goes back to Mark. Funny how that works.
Mark, are you listening?
We will send him this podcast episode. I can promise you that.
I know.
Oh my God.
No. Share with your dad.
He just did a great job. He did a great job. And I told him that. I said, I just adore your daughter. She's, amazing. So she's funny. She's beautiful. I like how she makes fun of herself. She kind of reminds me of me in that respect. A little bit. She's goofy. She's just everything. I think they're a perfect couple.
There's been a lot of talk of him being the next Golden Bachelor.
Mark.
Yes.
Oh,
but
he'd be good at that.
So there's like a lot of questions here. I mean, would you want to be a contestant on his season? Would you ever do this again? Or are you holding out? Would you be the next Golden Bachelorette?
I don't think it's really up to me.
Well, what if they asked you?
If it were.
Well, yeah, but it's not like I'm holding out. No. If they asked me, yes, I would do it. I think I would be a great contestant or whatever they want to call it, a great lead because I have been, not contestant. I have been doing this. Now, I mean, I was on the show, so like I know kind of, a little more what to expect and not to expect and to all that. Plus, I think I'm fun. I mean, I'll rappel down a waterfall. I'll get in a hot tub, I'll go on an ATV. I'll do anything. Not anything, but,
One of those three is not like the other. Getting in the hot tub is not quite the same as ATVing and rappelling down the side of a building, but the point is that you're willing to do all the things, Leslie.
I'm willing to do it in a bathing suit and hiking boot. I don't care. I don't care about my hair. I'll just do it.
And what about being a contestant for Mark? Would you? If he were the
Wait,
Bachelor,
say that again?
would you be a contestant on Mark's season of the Golden Bachelor? Would you ever put yourself in that position again with like 20-something
I think
women?
she just wants her own one-on-one. I
Yeah.
don't think she wants to
I
be
think
on the
so.
show. with him.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, the problem is you're going for one guy and then you got to compete against all those women. And then I don't know if I could handle that heartbreak again,
Sure.
really, in my old age.
No.
Yeah. And I don't want to break anyone's heart either, but I want us to choose each other. And that's what I thought I thought that's what we were doing. I thought Gerry and I were doing that, but I don't know. Although no one's really sliding into my DM, so maybe it's an option. I don't know.
Gentlemen,
Start your engines.
Leslie's DMs are open. They are open. Talk to her.
I have a lot of young guys sliding in there, which
Hey,
I have
what's
a
wrong
rule.
with
I
that?
I don't date anyone that's younger than my oldest child.
And you have
No.
men sliding in your DMs that are younger than your oldest child?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mhm.
How
Yeah.
about that?
But they must have mommy issues.
Let's
Do
hope
you want to
not.
send
So
them
I-
my way? Do you want to send them
Gina.
my way?
I'm just gonna take notes.
How old is your youngest child or your oldest child?
Well, my oldest child is going to be 38 in a few months.
Still a little young for me. Okay, never mind.
And he's single and he lives in Chicago. So
Interesting. Does he like older women? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I wish I could say yes, but I can definitely say no.
They never do. They never do.
Yeah.
They never do. I
No,
get it.
no.
Tell me
No.
what you're looking for. So say you were the Golden Bachelorette. What would be the requirements that you would say, like, I want this in a potential mate?
Well, I have one of the biggest things I want, and I know the bar is set low on this, but I want someone to be faithful to me and honest with me. So that is my number one thing. Because I've had infidelity in my relationship and marriage, and that's all I really want. But then on top of that, I want someone who's a family man, someone who makes me laugh, because that's really important. I want someone who is active, but they don't have to, like, if they don't snowboard and surf and do the things that I like to do, it's okay. But someone that's active, because I am an active person. And just someone that is really grounded and has the same moral compass as I do, pretty much. And loves dogs. I love dogs.
A very important disclaimer there at the end. You know, we have
you.
Mark's dating profile here pulled up, and he lists all of those exact same things. What
does not.
are the chances? A match made in heaven we have found.
No. Matchmaker, make me a
Make
You want to
me a
make this
match.
happen,
Anyway.
don't you?
I think we are going to make it happen.
But then you'd be cheating us out of a great season of the Golden Bachelor.
But what about a great season of playing the field? I
That's
mean,
true,
let's be
that's
honest.
true.
This
We
would
get
be-
all the credit. You'd get all the credit for this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
everywhere.
Leslie, I want to know.
I will.
Go ahead, Gina.
I was just gonna say, I have been pushing. I have been saying to these guys that I wanted you as Golden Bachelorette.
Mhm.
I think you would make a great.
Oh, thank you. I
We all agree
appreciate
with that.
I mean,
Yes.
I think, all the women in my season, we all have really great qualities. I mean, they did a great job on casting all of us, I think, because we're all very different. So I guess it's just up to who they think would be the best person. I don't know. Or I have no idea how they pick. So,
Well, you
I
definitely
think
have.
they know that I want to.
Well, we would love to see it. And you need to promise us that when you are named the Golden Bachelorette, you're going to come back and do another episode with us to talk about it.
I'll do it. Even if I'm not. Can I do that? Do I have to be the Golden Bachelorette?
No, you can come on
Anytime.
anytime you'd like. And if Mark just happens to be on with us at that time, even better. It'll just be organic how that happens.
Oh my
It'd be like
God.
a first
I
date.
can't believe a guy like that has problems finding a very
Aw.
nice
Well,
Cute
maybe
woman.
he's like
So-
you. Maybe he's shy, has a tough time putting himself out there, having gone through heartbreak before. So these are all real
Yeah.
possibilities.
Yeah. And, there is a picky factor. I mean, I am picky, and my kids, that's what they said to me as I was leaving for the show. Don't be so picky. Open your heart,
Easier
get
said
that
than
wall
done.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I did. I took their advice, and look what happened. I'm never taking their advice again.
That's what you get for listening to your
It's
kids.
the other way around.
Who taught them?
Well, hey, listen, before we let you go, I know there's a lot of women that listen to this podcast that are in your exact same situation that are looking for that special someone. What advice would you give to them listening right now as they are embarking on their quest to find that person as well?
Well, I'm just going to kind of piggyback off of what I've heard from people coming up to me all the time saying, you really gave me hope. Because of you, I put myself out there. Because of you, I actually found my guy. Because of you, not me per se, but, the show, and then me because they're talking to me. But it's just that I think what the show has done is showed women our age, I'm 65, showed women our age, like, your life's not over. You just go out there, find your person. And my whole thing is I just throw things to the wall, and if they stick, they stick. Like, I do things. If I'm asked, I go. If I think experiences are really important, and I think experiences would eventually lead you to, you never know who you're going to meet. And so that's kind of what I say. Just do it. Just go out there, get your big girl panties on, and get off the couch and go.
Well, it's that attitude and that personality which makes it easy to see why you were such a fan favorite on the Golden Bachelor. And we hope you are going to be the new Golden Bachelorette. And we'd love to have you on anytime on Playing the Field to talk about all things dating, and who knows what's going to transpire here in the future.
Never know. You
Well,
never know.
Thank
you guys.
Leslie, thanks so much for being with us. It means so much.
Thank you.
It means much to me too.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. That is Leslie from the Golden Bachelor, and exactly as I thought she would be.
I know. So lovely. And just, I really am rooting for her to find love, and I would love to see more of her journey.
I think so too. And Gina, I mean, are there any rumblings? You've got your finger on the pulse out there in Los Angeles. Any rumors? Anything you've been hearing?
No one is telling me anything. It is very, very upsetting.
Very frustrating. Now, wait. Now, there's a lot of people that listen to this podcast, and we thank them for that don't know exactly like how this process works. Is this unusual for this to be kept this much of a secret at this juncture based on what we've seen in seasons past?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, we normally go Bachelor season, Bachelorette season, Bachelor season, Bachelorette season, all of that. And so we have the Golden Bachelor in the mix now. And I believe that things have just, it's not that it's so different, you know what I mean? It's just, we'll have a regular Bachelorette season, and then we'll have a Golden Bachelorette season. It is a little bit unusual, but it's not that it hasn't been done before, where we'll have two female leads, one after the other. It was Katie and then Michelle, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Jen,
I think so. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we've had that happen before, but the Golden Bachelor is a different beast than the Bachelor. But it is also just, to me, it's been, as we've talked about before, it's been a breath of fresh air. To have the Golden Bachelor on, to see these women thrive. And, as we've said before, I just love watching them and the great message that they've had.
Yeah, and to that point, Jen, I mean, I thought Leslie said it at the end, all these women that have come up to her during this journey, and she, frankly, much like a lot of women, and frankly, Gerry himself, have been an inspiration to so many people that are later in life and still looking for love.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the key message is you got to get out there. And I loved what she said. Say yes, go, do things. I think if you're sitting on the couch, nothing's going to happen, other than what I think when we spoke to Susan and Kathy, they said, unless you have a thing for the UPS guy or something.
Or you're hanging out at Marshall's. Speaking of which, Gina, we saw you went to Marshall's.
I did.
Yeah.
What's your point? Look, we got to do what we got to do is all I'm saying.
For those who don't know.
Yes, fill them in, Jen.
For those who don't know, Susan met a man in Marshall's in the lamp department in the home goods area.
and have gone on a few dates.
Yeah, it's looking good.
About that.
And Gina went to Marshall's the next day, we should point out.
Look,
Men, that's
some
where
of
she
us
is.
are
Anyone who wants to meet
single.
Gina.
So while Gina looks forward to her next trip to Marshall's, we look forward to the next episode of Playing the Field. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast if you're a listener. That way you can get updated on when any of our new episodes dropped. We'd appreciate it. And we thank you so much for listening. As always, for Jen and Gina and Leslie, I'm Ryan. We'll see you next time on Playing the Field.